next May until Christmas comes my way.
Previously on Nicholas Stacy's super awesome Christmas time extravaganza featuring Dr. Phil, we met a man named Nicholas Stacy, a young Bostonian who worked at his local bookhouse. Nicholas was brought up in a world where Christmas was about money and greed, and nobody really cared much about it. Nicholas's work at the bookhouse was not all that exciting. He did normal activities, such as feed the store cat, but his work never seemed to satisfy his grumpy boss, Heinrich. His boss ordered him to continue his work downstairs. While rearranging the shelves downstairs, a box fell off the shelf, bringing him to a strange vision.
In his vision, he sees what Christmas used to be. Now Nick has a mission to spread the news of Christmas, so he starts off by sharing what Christmas is with his friend Holly.
Nick goes home to decorate his house and prepare dinner for him and Holly. When Holly arrives at Nick's house, she is a little skeptical about all the decorations, but she still stays to have dinner. As Nick and Holly eat, Nick goes on and on about Christmas, barely letting Holly get a word in. Then Elf barges into the house and tells Nick that there are a bunch of people outside his house. As Aunt Carol makes her way through the crowd toward the house, Nick, Elf, and Holly make a plan to distract Aunt Carol and get rid of the decorations.
So Elf goes to distract Aunt Carol outside, while Nick and Holly are trying to get rid of the decorations inside so Carol doesn't see them. When Carol gets in the house, after Nick and Holly are done clearing the decorations, Elf goes to take on the task of calming the crowd down from being angry and confused about the decorations on Nick's house. After Elf fails at this, Nick speaks to the crowd about how Christmas should be and how it used to be. The crowd jeers and mocks him until a mysterious figure says that it was the truth. As we continue forward, the mysterious figure is currently talking to Nick and the crowd.
I wish a one-horse open sleigh would come carry me away, and I'll keep waiting through next May until Christmas comes my way.
The mysterious figure walks up to Nick. He studies Nick, trying to see if there is a different person than what his eyes tell him.
I know the odds are against you, kid, but I can change that for you.
The mysterious figure pulls out a card and places it in Nick's coat pocket.
Meet me at the Burger King on the corner of North Henry Avenue tomorrow for lunch at high noon.
Nick was just as stunned as the crowd. Silence filled the air for a few seconds before Elf broke it.
There's a Burger King?
Nick walks over to the Burger King to meet the mysterious figure. The employee at the counter was visibly exhausted, eyes threatening to close as Nick approached.
Can I get a Whopper and small fries? Also, I have a coupon.
Oh, yeah, sure. Let me get someone to scan that for you real quick.
Hey, Jack, do you know how to scan this coupon?
Yeah, give it to me. I'll deal with a customer.
Oh, it's you. I didn't even recognize you from before.
I'm glad you met me here, kid. I got a big-time opportunity for you.
Oh, really? What kind of opportunity?
An opportunity for fame, fortune, you know, the dream life. Money, baby.
Oh, golly. That would really help me with my goal of spreading Christmas cheer.
I knew I saw something special in you, kid. Walk with me. You see, I love whappers, but I also love some of the weirdest people in the world. I'm a scout, and I think you fit this description to a T.
Wow. I'm honored to be one of the weirdest people in the world. What are you hinting at here?
Listen, what's your name? Nate? Nah, whatever it is, you're weird. But a good weird. And your whole Christmas thing is gonna be big. Bigger than a 2-focus sandwich still here.
It's Nick. But, you really think so? I really want Christmas to be known everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm not just gonna give it to you. What do you think this is, Natey boy? You gotta prove yourself.
Prove myself? How? I mean, If it's for Christmas, I'll do anything.
You gotta prove you're committed first. You know a lot of those Christmas songs, don't you? Say, why don't you stand on a table and show everybody what that Christmas spirit is all about?
After Nick hears this, he thinks that it'll be easy and fun. He gets on top of a table, closing his eyes with determination. When he opens them again, he starts singing the best Christmas song he could think of, surprising onlookers by the dozen.
I don't want a lot for Christmas. There is just one thing I need.
Soon enough, there wasn't a single eye not on Nick in the restaurant.
Okay, that's the best Christmas song I got for you.
Yeah, that was marvelous. You, my friend?
Thank you. But why did you clap?
Well, that was cute for somebody to hand me something. I gotta do everything myself here, I guess.
Jack pulls out 2 plane tickets that say Los Angeles on them, handing one to Nick.
Dates on the ticket. Pack your bags, kid. We're going to La La Land.
Leaning over to pat his shoulder, Jack sits back. Nick stares at the ticket with excitement, hardly noticing when another employee slides a tray of food in front of him.
Oh boy, my very first plane ride. I hope I don't get airsick.
Hey, Nady boy. You gonna eat that Whopper?
Nah, I'm too excited to eat.
Eh, more for me then. Love me a Whopper. Oh, how'd you put in this thing, Stan?
When Nick and Jack head to La La Land, Jack's demeanor would have fooled anybody into thinking he was loaded with money. But the economy seats he bought proved otherwise. They were in the last group to board, lining up single file in the already crammed plane. They found their assigned seats and stuffed their carry-ons in the overhead bins. Jack was delighted to see that he scored an aisle seat, and because Nick was completely clueless about plane rides, he didn't know about the horrors of the middle seat.
And ladies and gentlemen, once again, please make sure all your seatbelts are securely fastened. All electronic equipment must be switched off. This includes laptops, mobile phones, and Kindles.
So, first plane ride, huh?
Yeah,
My first plane ride was on the way to my grandma's funeral.
I'm sorry about your grandma.
Nah, don't worry about it.
Anyways, what's LA like? I've never been outside of Boston.
I'm gonna be real, kid. My grandma's funeral had a way better crowd. There's a bunch of vegans there. It's scary. I don't even live in LA, to be honest. Orange County is much better than this dumpster fire.
Wow, I'm sure it's not as bad as you say it is.
No,
I want to show off Christmas for what it really is, and if LA is the place for me to do that, I'm gonna keep an open mind.
that's the kind of craziness I love to hear. Love your spirit, Nady. Now, where's that flight attendant?
Nick had high hopes for his first flight, his elation bursting at the thought of being able to shine a light on the true meaning of Christmas. But the already unbearably long flight felt like an eternity because of Jack's poor plane etiquette.
Hey, Jack, I know your legs are longer than mine, but could you not take up so much room? I don't have any.
I respect you a lot, kid. But no, a man needs room to breathe. Hey, Miss Flight Attendant, I would love another bag of peanuts.
Once they reached their destination, Nick felt all of his hope and happiness that was drained on the flight come flooding back. He remembered that he made it, and he was closer and closer to what he wanted most. The two arrived at a shabby motel across a taco shop and an old boxing gym. But because of Nick's excitement, he overlooked a very important detail.
So, now that we're finally here, how exactly am I gonna show everyone Christmas?
Oh, you're right. I haven't told you yet. You're just gonna be on the greatest show of all time.
The Oprah Winfrey Show? Am I really gonna be on Oprah?
Oprah?
Wow, this is an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely not. We're talking about the treasure of reality TV, our beautiful, bodacious, bald icon, Dr. Phil.
Oh, Dr. Phil is great too. When do I go on?
To say that Nick was surprised was an understatement. He hyped himself up believing that he was going to be in front of Oprah. But he was still excited to see Dr. Phil. He concluded in his head that he probably would have thrown up in front of Oprah.
Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. sharp. It's gonna be great.
The next morning, Nick rose with the sun, too excited, too eager, and too bouncy to let drowsiness overtake him. He thought about what he wanted to say and felt himself overflowing with joy. Nick tried his best to look as good as possible, wearing a bright red and green sweater and his favorite khakis. Jack rushed him out of the door quickly, claiming that the LA traffic would make them late. But before Nick left, he remembered to bring one artifact from the box he loved the most: a snow globe.
So, kid, here's how this is gonna go. We're gonna have the doctor sitting on his chair, he's gonna welcome you in. Here's the thing, he ain't gonna be super nice to you. So, you walk in, and then it's pretty simple, right? He asks you questions and you talk. Got that? You're on it too.
Wow, thanks. I feel so much better. I hope I don't mess this all up.
This next guest is a 30-year-old man from Boston, Massachusetts, who lives with his aunt and thinks that Christmas is wildly different than what we've come to know. Please welcome onto the Dr. Phil Show, Nicholas Stacy.
Back in Boston, Holly, Aunt Carol, and Elf are gathered around the TV, watching Nick walk out.
Look! There's Nicky! Yes! Nicky is meeting my favorite man ever. He's gonna be breathing the same air as Dr. Phil. The Dr. Phil.
This is kinda important. Also, take off the Dr. Phil sweater. You look insane.
I told you. The hat, scarf, sweater, and socks stay on the entire time we watch this.
Oh, shush! They're starting the questions. I hope I get mentioned.
Back in LA, sweat drenched Nick's hands as he waited for what seemed like hours, until the moment finally came when he was called on. Nick stepped out onto the platform to see Dr. Phil calmly smiling at him.
So, Nick, what is your story?
So, I was at my job at the book house.
Were you? You sound a little lost there, Nick.
Yeah, I was at the book house, and I had to go in the basement. A big box fell on my head, and I had this dream. It was about Christmas, and the way it used to be.
Nick goes on to explain how Christmas is meant to be, much to the amusement of the crowd.
So you saw all this in a dream before waking up in a hospital, and your first thought was, this makes more sense than anything I've ever thought up. Nick, do you normally come up with eccentric ideas about how the world works and then base your life off of them? Also, tell me, did your aunt make that sweater for you?
Oh, this? This is a Christmas sweater. It's traditional to make them. This one has a reindeer because he leads the sleigh of the man who runs Christmas when he flies through the air.
So what I'm gathering is that you think a man flies through the air with a bunch of animals leashed to a sleigh, and people just accepted this and made it into a tradition? Come on, at least make it sound plausible.
Well, I know, but, I saw it. It's real, I swear. The man had a base up in the North Pole, and he made presents for all the little kids, and then he delivered them on the 25th.
Hey, what's up with the holiday we have now? I like it.
It sounds like even you think this is crazy.
Where did you even get all these dumb ideas?
I know how it sounds, but I swear, it's true. I'm not a liar.
The increasing protest from the crowd made Nick shudder. He was frozen as the live audience belittled everything he had said. He was mortified at their belief in the greed consuming the holiday, rather than the potential for love. He didn't know what to do, and he wanted to cry, thinking he had failed himself, that he had failed Christmas.
Well, folks, this seems like a good time to take a break. This is Dr. Phil, and we will be right back.
Back in Boston,
Nick isn't looking so good. I hope he's alright.
Did you see how Phil just totally demolished
Why
Nick?
are you so happy about this?
Wow, he's so cool.
I thought you were Nick's best friend.
I mean, I'm sad about Nick and all. I hope he's okay. But at the same time, Dr. Phil!
I don't know why he's like that, but I gotta say, that Dr. Phil man, he has gorgeous eyes.
I know! And have you seen that shiny bald head of his? Like, that has to be one of the hottest foreheads in Hollywood.
And the way that man asserts himself. I have never met a guy like him. Well, I did once. Did I ever tell you about that lumberjack I met at Walmart? So, there I was, standing in the middle of the light fixtures aisle, and
he looked just like Dr. Phil.
Oh my god, that's so crazy.
I know, the bald head and everything.
He had the bald head and everything.
Of course.
Did he have that sassy southern accent of his?
Yeah, even that.
Wow. I think you saw Dr. Phil.
Yeah, I think I'm convinced that it was him too.
Wow, that is so cool.
I sure hope that Nick's gonna be alright.
back in LA, Nick had calmed down a little during the break.
Welcome back to the Dr. Phil Show, folks. Last we left off, Nick here was explaining his, unorthodox theories about Christmas. So, Nick, this magical flying man who has the flying reindeers pulling his flying sleigh and travels around the world at night, do you know his name?
His name? Oh yeah, it's...
Santa Claus! Ho, ho, ho! It is I, Heinrich, the owner of the bookstore Nick works at. I, as you can probably tell, I am also the old Santa Claus.
Now, hold it. Just what do you think you're doing?
Nick here speaks the truth. Christmas did used to be very different, and I'm living proof.
How did you get past my security? This isn't how it works, mister. You've got to wait your turn. We have a whole system in place here, and you can't just cut ahead in line.
Listen up, everyone. I need to tell you a story.
As Dr. Phil is speaking, Heinrich cuts him off and starts telling the story of Christmas past.
As you have heard, Christmas used to be very different. I lived up in the North Pole with my wife and my elves and lived for hundreds of years of Christmas magic, delivering presents to the whole world each year. However, as time passed, things started to change. People were acting as if Christmas was about money instead of family and joy. It wouldn't stop, and slowly, the meaning of Christmas began to erode. I tried to stop it, but I couldn't do much. I hate to say it, but eventually I gave up. I left the North Pole with my wife and opened my store. The box in my basement, the one that hit Nick, I've kept it. Both as a way to keep me alive on the Christmas spirit, and because, I just couldn't part with it. It's all I really have left, seeing as it only took a couple of years for everyone to forget me. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but I have proof. My magic isn't what it used to be, but I can still do this!
Heinrich waved his hands, and suddenly it began to snow softly inside the studio. Everyone gasped, and even Dr. Phil was speechless.
I don't know what to say about all this. I never thought I'd see the day that I would say this. But, folks, I do believe that this man, Nicholas Stacy, is not crazy. Christmas, the Christmas that he talks about, is real.
Nick, my boy, I'm sorry I didn't tell you about this sooner. I would have if it wasn't for your little buddy interrupting us back at the hospital. Come on, my boy. It's time I show you what the true spirit of Christmas is.
Heinrich leads Nick out of the building to where his old sleigh is, the front of it headed by his reindeer. The crowd follows them out, all holding cameras. Nick and Heinrich get into the sleigh and take off to the North Pole.
Alleluia.